Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Yashodanandana Raja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Raja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada जय श्री राधा गोवर्धन धारी भगवान की कृष्णा बलराम भगवान की गिरिराज महाराज की नरसिंहदेव भगवान की श्री श्री राधा दामोदर भगवान की यशोदा दामोदर भगवान की गौरानिताय भगवान की गौर प्रेमानंदी. So reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 19, verse 23 today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tadadite samabhavat sahasahirdive pathu smarantya bhartur adesham stanak chasrik prasushruve Tadadite samabhavat Sahashahirdive Pathu Smarantya Bhartur Adesham Stanakchasrik Prashushrave. Prabhus? Smarantya Bhartur Adesham Stanakchasrik Prashushrave Tadadive Samabhava Stanakchasrik Prashushrave Sahashahirdive Pathu Smarantya Bhartaradesham Stanakchasrik Prashushrave Tadadite Samabhava Smarantya Stanakchasrik Prashushrave Tada. At that moment, Dite of Diti, Samabhavat occurred, Sahasha suddenly, Hirdi in the heart, Vepatu Ashada, Smarantaya recalling, Bhartuhu of her husband Kashyapa, Adesham the words, Stanat from her breast, Cha and Ashrik blood, Prashushruve flowed. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. At that moment, Ashada suddenly ran through the heart of Diti, the mother of Hiranyaksha. She recalled the words of her husband Kashyapa, and blood flowed from her breasts. Please repeat after me. At that very moment, Ashada suddenly ran through the heart of Diti, the mother of Hiranyaksha. She recalled the words of her husband Kashyapa, and blood flowed from her breasts. Purport. At Hiranyaksha's last moment, his mother Diti remembered what her husband had said. Although her sons would be demons, they would have the advantage of being killed by the personality of Godhead himself. She remembered this incident by the grace of the Lord, and her breasts flowed blood instead of milk. In many instances, we find that when a mother is moved by affection for her sons, milk flows from her breasts. In the case of the demon's mother, the blood could not transform into milk, but it flowed down her breasts as it was. Blood transforms into milk. To drink milk is auspicious, but to drink blood is inauspicious. although they are one and the same thing. This formula is applicable in the case of cow's milk also. Om Gyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. So today I'll be speaking a few points and discussing this purport of the Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 19, verse 23, which is titled The Killing of the Demon Hiranyaksha. And today is also Bahulastami, which is a very special day regarding Radhakund. So I'll speak about that in the second half of the class as well. So, for those who have been following along, and even for those who haven't, let's bring ourselves up to speed as to where we are now in this pastime. So, when in Vaikuntha, Lord Vishnu had two gatekeepers, Jai and Vijay. And one time, the four Kumaras, the four young devotees of Krishna, were coming to see him, but the gatekeepers didn't let them through. And for this reason, they were given a choice to either have 3 births as demons and come back to Vaikuntha quickly, or to have many births as devotees. And they chose to become demons. And they prayed that, please don't let us fall so far down that we forget who you are, the Lord, who you are, dear Lord Vishnu. So, Hiranyaksha, we are talking about today. Hiranyaksha is the brother of Hiranyakashipu, and they were the first 2 demons. And then there was Kamsa and Kumbhakarna in the next birth, and then there was Shishupal and Dandavakra. So these were the 3 demon incarnations, we could say, of Jai and Vijay. And so today what's happening is that so they had these demons, they had the benediction that they would be killed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This was a great benediction. And so what's happening now is that Hiranyaksha, he's fighting, and his death at the hands of Lord Varahadev, who is the boar incarnation of Lord Krishna, that is happening right now. So this is the verse, probably 2 verses before Hiranyaksha actually dies, 2 or 3 verses. And this is just before his death, at his last moment, that his mother Diti actually remembered what her husband had said. And going back a little, this pastime is very, very glorious about how Lord Varahadev, the boar incarnation, appeared and why he appeared in that form. And generally we regard boars as dirty creatures. They're always rooting in the mud and eating stool. And in fact, in Vrindavan, people keep them underneath their houses so that they can just clear away all the dirt. So, however, Lord Varahadev, his description is completely the opposite. And he is described as the original boar. So his form is described as very beautiful, very golden. The hairs on his body were golden, and he was gigantic. And he appeared as a tiny, tiny little, like a nail size, from the left nostril of Lord Brahma. So the way the Lord appears and disappears is very inconceivable. And it's actually said in the Bhagavad Gita that if one understands the transcendental manner of the Lord's appearance and disappearance, he doesn't have to take birth again. So it's all transcendental. So when Lord Varahadev appeared like this, the demigods and assembled sages, they didn't actually know who he was, but they were on his side, because the demon Hiranyaksha had been very, very horrible, as demons are. So they were saying, please destroy this demon. And the other reason Lord Varahadev appeared in the form of a boar is because boars generally have tusks. And these tusks are dangerous actually. And they kill people, boars kill people. And so when Lord Varahadev appeared this way, it was also for the reason of rescuing Bhumi Devi, Mother Earth, who had been thrown into the causal ocean and was right at the bottom of the ocean. So Lord Varahadev was going to go down and scoop Mother Earth up and carry her on his tusks, and this is what happened after he killed Hiranyaksha. So, coming back to the purport today, at her son's last moment, Mother Diti, she remembered. So Diti is the mother of the demons and Aditi is the mother of the demigods. So Diti remembered what her husband had said, which was, she remembered this through the mercy of the Lord, and it gave her solace, that her sons would actually be killed by the personality of Godhead himself. And we know that when Krishna kills a demon, what generally happens is the demon doesn't go to hell, but the demon goes to Vaikuntha. And except for Putana. When Krishna killed Putana, she actually went back to Goloka Vrindavan. So that's a special demon because she came as Krishna's mother. And so Mother Diti, she remembered this by the grace of the Lord, and her breast started flowing blood instead of milk. So generally, a mother out of affection, those of us who have become mothers, we might have had this let down experience. So it's called the let down reflex. It's a physiological reflex. And for those who don't know, it's good to get to know how the world does work. Cows also have this. And this is actually very important. Because if one goes to milk a cow and the cow is not letting down her milk, one can be milking a cow and getting very frustrated but not getting any milk. So the let-down reflex is important and is generally out of affection or when the breasts are full. We can see when the udders of the cow are full, sometimes they just start dripping milk. So what happened is, out of affection and out of sorrow, instead of milk flowing out of her breast, blood started flowing out. And blood, of course, is considered inauspicious and not good to drink directly, just in case one didn't know that. So the philosophy behind it is that it's said over here that the blood didn't have time, couldn't transform into milk, but just flowed down her breast as it was. So blood transforms into milk. So what this means is that when, of course in the body, the blood turns into milk as it accumulates in the breast. So it's a different substance altogether. Although it has much nutrition, many of the same cells, and it is nourishing. However, if one drinks blood, then it is actually really toxic to the gastrointestinal system, blood is. It causes a lot of vomiting, it can cause constipation or diarrhea, and of course it can make somebody very sick. So, with milk though, it's the complete opposite. It's very, very nourishing. So, and with milk, one gets a similar taste. It's described in the scriptures. Prabhupada has said this. So one gets a similar taste and all the nutritional requirements are fulfilled. And we know that, like, it's a baby's first food and a baby can live on that food for even up to 12 months. However, the emphasis is that if one is wanting to have meat, eat meat, and therefore blood, then instead of that, they are encouraged to have milk and milk products. Because it is the same thing and it gives the same nutritional value in terms of protein, similar. and also it helps one, if one is very attached to eating meat, it helps one come away from that and start moving towards a vegetarian diet. So this is what Prabhupada says, that blood transforms into milk, and they're one and the same thing. And this is also applicable in the case of cow's milk. So instead of killing cow, one should have cow's milk and milk products. So that is the main point in this purport. And also the other thing is the Lord's mercy, that it can be seen as quite cruel that the Lord is killing a demon. I mean, we know that they're being killed for very good reason, but in everything that the Lord does, He does it for one's ultimate welfare. There is no jealousy or envy or getting even. The Lord actually does everything for one's welfare. And of course the pastime, as I said, is that it was predestined that these three demons would be killed by the Lord. And also the Lord does these pastimes because in Goloka Vrindavan, there cannot be any killing. So the Lord comes to earth to have some sporting pastimes with the demons. So okay, so like I'll explain a little bit. So you know how there are different relationships one can have with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and different emotions that one feels. Like some people see the Lord as their child, some see them as their friend, as their friend, and some see, and you know, the chivalry mood. Lord Bhishmadev, Pitama Bhishma, grandfather Bhishma, he really had this big mood of chivalry. And the chivalrous mood is that you want to see the Lord in a fighting way. You want to see Him as a warrior on the battlefield. And, you know, so here the way the fight is described is really marvelous. And, you know, sometimes we like watching fighting movies, similar to that. So then, you know, like the mace fell down and everybody went, wow. And then the club fell down and then this shot happened. So it's like, you know, a real sort of captivating pastime. So, and each time, like, it's described that the demon was full of himself and he was confident. He didn't know that, he didn't know who he was up against. And so at first he threw his mace with like his full force. And as he threw his mace, the Lord simply kicked it with his left leg, very, very gently, just kicked it off with his left leg. And then the demon threw his mace, again with his full force, and he yelled out, "You are slain, die, you are slain." And then the Lord actually caught it. It's described just as someone catches a flower thrown at him. So he caught it very gently. And then he gave it back. And Hiranyaksha didn't want to take it back. He was very embarrassed. And so he manifested another weapon. And also at one point he was able to actually let Lord Varahadev's weapon fall down. He was able to dislodge Lord Varahadev's weapon. And as his weapon fell down, the mace, it was twirling and it was golden, and everybody was astounded as to how beautiful it looked. And the demigods were like, no, this can't happen, you have to kill him. So it was all very arresting how this pastime happened. Okay, so also, this is actually a short chapter, and we are at verse 23 today, and the chapter is over by around verse 38 or something. Yes, verse 38. And this chapter has, the Shruti Fal of this chapter is very nice. So it's nice that we are going through this chapter, of course, but this chapter says that one who hears or recites or tries to understand this chapter, they get great benefit. I won't say it, but because it's not really like, that we're reading in just to get benefit, but we're reading it for our spiritual purification. However, the Bhagavatam and other scriptures are very generous. The Lord is very generous. So we get a lot of benefit for our spiritual purification and also some extra benefits. Okay, the other thing that is happening today is the Tithi of Bahulastami. And I wanted to actually speak a bit about Bahulastami because it's a very special day, and it is on the 8th day of the waning moon. So we know the month started off with Sharad Purnima, the biggest full moon of the autumn season in India, but not autumn here. So 8 days ago the moon was full, and today is the 8th day of the waning moon. So on this day, it's called Bahulastami, and it is actually not the appearance day of Radhakund. So I'll talk a bit about that and some quotes from the scriptures. Bahulastami is described as being a very special day, endowed with lots of potency, and one who takes bath in Radhakund on Bahulastami becomes very dear to Lord Krishna. So this is why many people take bath in Radhakund today, and I'll also talk about that. Many people, and in ISKCON as well, for a long time, until 2019 in particular, we all thought that Bahulastami was the appearance day of Radhakund. But it has since then come to light that actually it's not. Okay, so before I talk about all these details, I wanted to go to the Nectar of Instruction, which tells us the elevated position of Radhakund, because it is the most important thing for us to understand the position of Radhakund. Otherwise, there is a risk of offenses, and if one commits offenses at Radhakund, then it's described that that's the quickest way to go down to hell. So we have to be very careful. So to understand Radhakund, we go to the Nectar of Instruction. The last 3 verses, 9, 10 and 11, in Nectar of Instruction, they talk about Radhakund, and I'll read them quickly. The holy place known as Mathura is spiritually superior to Vaikuntha, the transcendental world, because the Lord appeared there. Superior to Mathura is the transcendental forest of Vrindavan, because of Krishna's Ras Leela pastimes. And superior to the forest of Vrindavan is Govardhana hill, for it was raised by the divine hand of Sri Krishna and was the site of his various loving pastimes. And above all, the super excellent Sri Radhakund stands supreme, for it is overflooded with the ambrosial nectarian prema of the Lord of Gokul, Sri Krishna. Where then is that intelligent person who is unwilling to serve this divine Radhakund, which is situated at the foot of Govardhana hill? Verse 10. In the scriptures it is said that of all types of fruitive workers, he who is advanced in knowledge of the higher values of life is favored by the Supreme Lord Hari. Out of many such people who are advanced in knowledge, Gyanis, one who is practically liberated by virtue of his knowledge may take to devotional service. He is superior to the others. However, one who has actually attained prema, pure love of Krishna, is superior to him. The gopis are exalted above all the advanced devotees because they are always totally dependent upon Sri Krishna, the transcendental cowherd boy. Among the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the most dear to Krishna. Her Kunda, lake, is as profoundly dear to Lord Krishna as this most beloved of the gopis. Who then will not reside at Radhakund and in a spiritual body surcharged with ecstatic devotional feelings render loving service to the divine couple Sri Sri Radha Govinda, who perform their Ashtakaliya Leela, their eternal eightfold daily pastimes. Indeed, those who execute devotional service on the banks of Radhakund are the most fortunate people in the universe. And verse 11, of the many objects of favored delight and of all the lovable damsels of Brajabhumi, Srimati Radharani is certainly the most treasured object of Krishna's love. And in every respect, her divine Kunda is described by the great sages as similarly dear to him. Undoubtedly, Radhakund is very rarely attained, even by the great devotees. Therefore, it is even more difficult for ordinary devotees to attain. If one simply bathes once within those holy waters, one's pure love of Krishna is fully aroused. Srimati Radhakund ki jai. So, we can see how exalted, super excellent Radhakund is. Super excellent. And Nectar of Instruction is one of the first books that we read. So, with this mentality, I wanted us to now just take a little tour. So as we enter the Radhakund area, it's like alleys, and when we enter, on our left, we first come to Kundeshwar Mahadev. Kundeshwar Mahadev, he is Lord Shiva. And as we know, Lord Shiva, he guards the spiritual places, so that only those who are qualified can actually enter. And so we take the blessings of Lord Shiva first, Kundeshwar Mahadev, and we ask him, please allow us to actually understand and get the right mood to see Radhakund and protect us from offenses. So he allows us entry to Radhakund. As we walk towards Radhakund, we will see Radhakund. And then the first thing we need to do is bow down to Radhakund, as that is our first sight. And then we walk, and Radhakund is on our right at this stage. And when we walk, we'll come to a little door on the right, which is the door to the temple of Purana Radha Krishna and Raghunath Das Goswami's Samadhi. So Raghunath Das Goswami, he was one of the 6 Goswamis. He is one of the 6 Goswamis who resided on the banks of Radhakund. He is the Acharya of Radhakund, and he actually, what we see today, Radhakund and Shamkund, in the shapes that they are concreted all around, that was done by Raghunath Das Goswami. And so we pay our respects, we offer our obeisances to Raghunath Das Goswami, and then we come out the other door, and then we are right on the steps of Radhakund. So on the steps of Radhakund, what we do is we pay our obeisances to Radhakund again, and we go down and we take some water in our hands and we sprinkle it on our heads, and we also offer Snana Dana. So today is also Snana Dana. We offer some water like this in our palms back into Radhakund. So the significance of this is that I don't have anything more superior to give you than you yourself. And this is also done in the Ganges. So we give her water back to her, we say our prayers sitting down on the bank of Radhakund, and our spiritual masters, let's start from Rupa Goswami. So Nectar of Instruction is from Rupa Goswami, and what he has said is these 3 verses. And, if one just reads these verses, then they might think, oh yes, I can go and I can actually go and jump in and take a swim in Radhakund, take a bath in Radhakund. However, we are strongly cautioned by Prabhupada and Prabhupada's spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, not to do this. We are cautioned not to take bath in Radhakund in that way. And why, I will explain. I will explain a bit later. But what I wanted to say today is, so like I said, it was only very recently that all this, that by more research, it was established by ISKCON that Bahulastami is actually not the appearance day. So this 8th day of the waning moon has almost universally been accepted as the day of appearance, and it is mentioned in all the Vaishnava calendars, printed by not just ISKCON but many branches of the Gaudiya tradition. However, there is no evidence from Shastra or previous acharyas to support it. Everyone knows that according to acharyas, Radhakund appeared on the same day when Lord Krishna killed Arishtasur, the bull demon. So Arishtasur, we know that story, which I won't get into today because we'll keep that story for the actual day of Radhakund appearance. So when Krishna killed this bull demon Arishtasur, straight after that, to purify himself, he actually was told by the gopis to go and bathe in all the holy rivers, and then Shamakund and Radhakund were manifested, dug out. So beautiful verses composed by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describe this Leela, and they are in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the commentary of 10:36:16, and in his writings, Jiva Goswami was a great scholar in the 6 Goswamis, and he specifies that Arishtasur, the bull demon, the big black bull demon, he was killed on the full moon night of the month of Chaitra. This month of Chaitra is in March, April, just like this month of Kartik is in October, November. So Chaitra Purnima, the full moon night of Chaitra, is when the Arishta demon was killed, and that is the night when Radhakund and Shyamkund were manifested. So there are many quotes to actually support this, and one is in the Gopal Champu, and it is said that the Snigdha Kanta began his morning narration in his 10th year. Sri Krishna, the friend of Gokul, who was filled with bliss at every moment, manifested his pastimes characterized by the highest prema. One evening when the sun's rays were reddish, the enemy of the demigods by the name Arishta, madly rushing about and frightening the cows, came to the entrance of beautiful Vraj. At that time, Balram's younger brother Sri Krishna, noticing the full moon day conjoined with Chitra Nakshatra, came, and being anxious to behold Govardhana hill, who increases his happiness, he went some distance from Vraja. On the basis of Varha Puran and Vishnu Puran, Jiva Goswami further describes in great detail how Arishtasura was killed, Shamakund and Radhakund were manifested, and Krishna performed his spring rasa dance with the gopis on the same night. And in his Lagu Vaishnava Toshani, commentary to Srimad Bhagavatam 10:45:3, Srila Jiva Goswami writes, Arishtasur was killed on the full moon day of the month of Chaitra, March-April, during Krishna's 11th year. The month of Chaitra comes next, after Falgun. So Chaitra Purnima is exactly 1 month after Gaura Purnima. So the following question arises: why do we hear that Radhakund appeared on Bahulastami day of Kartik month? There is a very high probability that the glories of a bath in the Radhakund on the Bahulastami day, stated in Shastra and quoted by our acharyas, led to the unwanted assumption that this must be the day of its appearance. Here are 2 statements from Padma Purana, quoted by Sanatan Goswami in Hari Bhakti Vilas and Rupa Goswami in Mathura Mahatmaya. Near delightful Govardhana hill, there is a pond of Srimati Radharani which is very dear to Lord Hari. O Brahmanas, if a person bathes there on Bahulashtami, which is today, during the month of Kartik, he will become very dear to Lord Hari, because such bath gives great happiness to the Lord. Having taken bath in that pond on the 8th lunar day of the month of Kartik, one should worship Lord Janardana. Then the Lord will be pleased with such person in the same way as he is pleased when one worships him on the day of Utthana Ekadashi. So Shastra does not specifically mention the reason why Radha Kund Snan on Bahulashmi day is so dear to Krishna, but it is a day which is in this month of Kartik specifically full of potency and specifically very special to be said that if one takes bath in this day, then then they become that Lord Krishna becomes very, very happy with that person. So, so this is the explanation as to Bahulastami. The reason it's called Bahulastami is there's another pastime which I won't get into today, but there's the Bahulastami story is about a cow who was called Bahula. And so now I'll just say something else here, that according to our acharyas, Sri Radhakund and Shamkund were manifested on the Chaitra Purnima night in spring, and that Radhakund Snan on the Bahulastami day in Kartik is especially dear to the Lord. And so we have now Bahulastami, and also we have Radhakund appearance in March, April, Chaitra Purnima day. We have now 2 special days on the calendar to be honoring and glorifying Radhakund, which is as dear to Krishna as Radharani herself. So, what I wanted to say is, reading all of this, we can actually take it for granted that, oh yes, as soon as it's the highest place and as soon as I go to Vraja, I'm going to jump in Radhakund. However, I will say what our immediate previous Acharya Srila Prabhupada and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj's instructions on this are. And just before that, so in 2019, ISKCON GBC passed the following resolution. According to research, the observance of the appearance of Radhakund on Bahulastami in Kartik is incorrect, and the appearance of Radhakund should be observed on Chaitra Purnima. However, many people don't know this, and it's okay, because the benefit is still there. There's no harm at all. In fact, there's only benefit and benefit. So many people go and take bath. In fact, Bahulastami night at midnight, Radhakund appeared. So, I mean, the pastime is Radhakund appeared at midnight on Chaitra Purnima, but at midnight today at Radhakund, it's just going to be massively packed, and lots of people are going to be swimming, taking a bath in Radhakund and coming out. So, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, he actually has a house on the bank of Radhakund. And what he said is, what he is saying is that it was 1935. So, let me just take it. Okay. So, all right. In 1935, when the disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, they were around over there, they started having a swim after doing parikrama. But he quickly said to them, no, don't do this. He cautioned them, and he said that Radhakund is very, very, it's the epitome of Radha Krishna Prema. So it's very, very spiritually elevated. So don't enter the waters. This is basically Radharani liquid love. Radharani's liquid love for Krishna. And this is like same as Radharani. So you can't really enter her waters and touch her with your feet. This was the mentality of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And he said, instead you go and you take water on your hand and you put it on your head. 3 drops, even 3 drops of water on your head is showing respect, and at the same time, this is important, getting the same benefit as having a bath in Radhakund. So by sprinkling 3 drops of water on our head of Radhakund, we get the same benefit. Because committing offenses at Radhakund is certainly the fastest way of going to hell. So, and Srila Prabhupada, he said, don't go to Radhakund simply to become a monkey in your next life. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, my guru, has also said that many people come here to live, but in actual fact, because of their offenses, they are not living at Radha Kund, but in Naraka Kund. So it said that, if one doesn't have the right mentality, this highest place, Radha Kund, becomes like hell for them, if one is offensive. So, living on the banks of Radha Kund and regularly bathing in her waters is meant for the most advanced devotees like Raghunath Das Goswami, who are beyond the bodily conception of life. And Prabhupada, what he said is, so in 1975, Prabhupada gave warning, like he was very upset actually, and he really scolded his disciples. Prabhupada became very grave, and he informed all the devotees gathered for the Gaur Purnima festival that from now on, from 1975 on, no one should take bath in Radha Kund. Rather, the devotees should simply sprinkle 3 drops of water on their heads, as this would have the same benefit as taking a full bath, and at the same time help avoid offenses to Radha Kund. There is no difference, Prabhupada is saying this directly, I'm quoting, there is no difference between Radha Kund and Radharani. So how can you jump over Radharani? How can you enjoy Radha Kund by swimming? You cannot touch your feet even to Radha Kund. You can take a little water on your head. This is respectful to Radha Kund. So I just wanted to say those things. And the last thing I'll say is that on the bank of Radha Kund, there is Chaitanya Baitak, which is the place that Lord Chaitanya sat down, and he did his bhajan there, he did his chanting there. And it used to be a small temple, but now, in recent years, it has been developed into a big, beautiful temple, and all along the ceiling, there are dioramas. And these dioramas, they depict the whole pastime of Radha Kund being discovered, and then what happened and what happened there. It's very, very nice. However, the first diorama is rather confusing, and a lot of devotees come there and they look at it and they're confused because there's a pond, there's water, and there's a lady's face in the water looking upwards. She's lying in the water looking upwards, and there's Lord Chaitanya in the water, and there's a field all around. So many people didn't really understand what this diorama meant. And they couldn't understand that pastime. So what it is, that diorama, is that that water is Radha Kund, and the lady, the woman, is Radharani, and that is being shown to us, depicted to us in the diorama, that this is liquid Radharani. Radha Kund is actually liquid love. And that Lord Chaitanya is in the water because that the field all around is the rice paddy field, because that's when Lord Chaitanya first discovered Radha Kund. It was in a rice paddy field as 2 puddles, Radha Kund and Sham Kund. So a lot of people weren't able to understand who was actually in the diorama. And unfortunately, when you go to the temple, the pujaris aren't there quite often. So, and there's no explanation under the diorama. So people were wondering. So I thought I'd mention that, and it's very actually you can really see, okay, this is how it is, that this is Radharani, liquid love of Radharani. So the most important thing to say today, 2 things. Firstly, is that Bahulastami is a special day, 8th day of the waning moon in Kartik, whereby special benediction is there if one takes bath or takes 3 drops of water of Radha Kund on their head. They become very, very dear. Krishna becomes very pleased with him, and very dear to Lord Hari. And the second thing to say is that our Srila Prabhupada and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, they cautioned us not to take bath in Radha Kund, but to just take 3 drops of water. However, there is also the allowance that one should ask their spiritual master directly, can I take bath in Radha Kund? And if the spiritual master gives permission, then with all these things in mind, we still see devotees taking bath in Radha Kund. But not in a sporting manner, not just treating it like a swimming pool, just very, very respectfully. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Or anything else one would like to say? Lord Varhadev ki jai. Radha Kund Bahulastami ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi.